Friends, the name of this film is Serenity, which was released in 2019. Its story features a mysterious island where a man named Dil is trapped. He tries to understand how and when he arrived on this island because there is no way to get out. To understand, make sure to watch until the end. The story begins with Dil, the main character. Dil has a boat and loves fishing. He lives on an island called Plymouth. To earn money, he often takes tourists fishing. Dil sets up the rods for them, and the tourists fish themselves, which makes them very happy. In return, Dil receives some money. Today, Dil is with his companion and 2 tourists who pay for the fishing trip. But today, something different happens. When a fish comes close, Dil refuses to hand his rod to the client. In fact, Dil has been trying to catch a special fish for a long time, and today he might finally catch it. When he doesn't give the rod, the tourists get angry, but Dil silences them by showing a knife. Unfortunately, despite his efforts, he fails to catch the tuna fish. Now he has to return the money to the tourists. However, this is not a big deal for Dil, but Duke is very disappointed because he needs to pay his granddaughter's university fees. Dil promises to give him the money. After this, he goes to meet his friend Diana, who gives him some money. While spending time with her, Dil asks about her son, who also loved boats and fishing. In fact, Dil wants to let Duke go so he can work somewhere that pays better. Later, at a bar during a conversation with the bartender, we learn that people here know even the smallest details about each other. The bartender says, "You've tried to catch that fish 4 times. You should name it." Dil replies, "Its name is Justice." At night, he goes to give Duke the money and tells him they will go back to the sea tomorrow. Duke asks how many clients are going with them, and Dil says they will go alone because he wants to catch that fish at any cost. Duke doesn't think this is a wise decision since their money is at stake. That night, when Dil is at home, he remembers his son, who is with his wife after the divorce. His son also had a passion for fishing. The next day, he goes to the sea with Duke. Despite waiting all day, they cannot find the fish, which leaves Dil very disappointed. On returning, he tells Duke, "You're bad luck for me. Ever since your wife died, your luck has been terrible." Hearing this, Duke feels very bad and angrily leaves. But in reality, Dil did this intentionally so that Duke could find work elsewhere. That night, when he goes to the bar, the bartender advises him to give up on catching that fish. But he doesn't listen. Just then, Karen, Dil's ex-wife, comes to meet him. Dil knows she has come for a purpose. After taking her to his boat, he asks, "What do you want from me?" From their conversation, we learn that Dil was in the army but left that job for some reason. Karen says, "You were right, and I was wrong." After divorcing Dil, Karen married Frank, who was wealthy but not a good person. He abused Karen and kept a close watch on her. Dil asks about their son, Patrick, and Karen begins to cry. She says Patrick is always scared and stays in his room to avoid hearing about it, spending the whole day playing games on the computer. His teachers say he is very bright, but now he is very quiet. Dil suggests that she should divorce him, but Karen says she can't because he will kill her. That's why she is here. In fact, she wants Dil to help her kill Frank. She says she will bring him on the boat under the pretense of fishing and is even ready to pay him $10 million for this work. But Dil refuses because he doesn't want to kill anyone. After Karen leaves, a man in a suit comes looking for Dil. He has been watching Dil for several days but hasn't been able to meet him. The next morning, when Dil goes swimming in the sea, he hears his son's voice and briefly sees his face. Meanwhile, we hear shouting between Frank and Karen. We see Patrick, who was in his room, meaning there is some connection between this father and son. Meanwhile, Karen's husband, Frank, arrives at the hotel where Karen is staying. Seeing him, Karen panics because he was supposed to come 2 days later. He immediately starts torturing Karen. The next day, Dil goes to a local shop to get fishing supplies. There, a woman who works there tells him that people are discussing that Frank beat his wife with a belt for an hour, and Karen didn't make a sound. Dil leaves without discussing it. When he reaches the boat, he sees Frank waiting with Karen. Frank says, "My wife told me you won't take us fishing." Dil replies, I violated some rules, so I can't take anyone alone on the boat. Frank says, in this small island, money wins over the law. So don't worry about that. But Dill still doesn't agree. Then Frank says, every man has a price. I will come here tomorrow, and you will take me fishing. After that, he starts to leave. Meanwhile, the same unknown man comes looking for Dill, but again, Dill leaves without listening to him. The man checks his watch and says, I'm 20 seconds late. Something is wrong. Later, Dill goes to sell a fish, where Carlos tells him that someone was looking for him, but Dill isn't interested. Then he goes to give Diana her cat, which had gone missing. Diana says, I heard Karen asked for help from you. You're a good person. I think you should help her. After leaving there, Duke comes to meet him. He says, Frank is going to give you a lot just for one tour. I need to pay my granddaughter's fees. You should accept his offer. Dill asks why he should listen to him, and Duke says, I know why you're doing this, but I need your help. To help Duke, Dill agrees. Later, Karen comes to meet Dill again. Dill says, I will only take him fishing. I am not going to kill him. Karen responds, he will kill me and Patrick. I know he listens to you through your computer, and you both are connected. Dill doesn't respond to her. Later, when he and Duke are at sea, Dill expresses that he feels something is wrong here. During fishing, Dill asks Frank if he has children. Frank replies, I have a stepson. I've tried to befriend him, but he spends all day on the computer. His math teacher says he's a genius, but he is stuck in a useless game where a man fishes all day. Dill asks why he hates him so much, and Frank says, I don't know, but one day I will kill him. Dill gets angry upon hearing this, but before he can act, a large shark gets hooked on their line, and they become busy trying to catch it. After returning, Dill says they will go again tomorrow. Karen gets a chance to talk, so she offers Dill to kill Frank again. Karen says, Patrick also wants this. Hearing this, Dill falls into thought. Duke also overhears their conversation and asks Dill if he knows those people. Dill says, That's my ex-wife. During my army job, I went to war, and when I returned, I found out she had gone to Frank. Duke advises him that no matter what, he shouldn't kill anyone. That night, Dill meets Karen again and agrees to kill Frank, but only for the money. He's not doing it out of love. When Dill gets home, the same unknown man visits him again, the one we've seen several times in the film. He brings a device that will help Dill catch the tuna fish he has dreamed of catching for a long time. This man offers Dill this device for free. The man inadvertently says that this is the rule of the game, and he is the rule. This makes Dill feel strange, and he becomes suspicious of the man. So, he threatens him and asks, Who are you? The man, named Reed, explains that this is not real. It's just a game, and the rule of the game is that no one dies here. You're a character, and you need to catch that tuna fish. Dill doesn't believe him, but he has always been suspicious about this place. He can't remember when he came here and how long he has been here. Meanwhile, we learn that this game might have been designed by his son, but the reason for it is still unclear. Reed says that things have been going wrong in the game for the past few days. The one who created this game might want you to kill Frank now, but according to my rules, killing anyone on this island is forbidden, which is why I came to explain the rules to you. I don't even know why the one who created this game is changing the rules. Dill thinks his words are nonsense. The next morning, Dill realizes he can't wake up before the alarm, hinting that he might really be in a game. Everywhere he goes, he hears one thing: go and catch that fish. He tries to remember why and when he came to this island, but he can't recall anything. He gets into his car and drives quite far away, and now he begins to feel that this is not real. While talking to himself, Diana's son, Samson, comes to meet him and says, Did you need someone? Can I work with you? Dill laughs and says, When I needed you for this game, you weren't there. And now this game is giving me everything. Dill leaves to dispel his doubts and starts asking the store owner some questions, but he always changes the subject. Then, Dill calls to find out if Reed is real, and he gets the answer that Reed is real. Frustrated, Dill goes to the bar to drink, but the bartender tells him the same thing again. Aren't you going fishing today? You should go to work. Don't take the tourists. They always annoy you. This means the game's rules are telling him not to kill Frank, but Patrick has something else in mind. Meanwhile, It shows that when Karen opens her eyes, she finds Frank injured in the bathroom. 6 people attacked him last night. In fact, this was Duke's doing. He paid some people to ensure Frank wouldn't come to the boat today. Duke tells Dill, "I did what I thought was right." This angers Dill greatly. Despite being injured, Karen convinces Frank to go fishing. While he sits by the sea in despair, Reed approaches him. Dill says, "I can't understand why I'm here. What is the purpose of my life? Am I going crazy?" Reed admits he doesn't know anything about this but knows what's happening here. They are all part of someone's dream, and only the one who created them knows about them. Dill realizes that this person is a little boy watching them from a dark room, whose stepfather keeps abusing his mother. Perhaps this is why he created this game, hoping to one day bring back his real father and teach his stepfather a lesson. "He wants me to bring him justice, no matter what," Reed says. "If you want this, I will break the game's rules. If our creator wants this, you should do the same." Karen brings Frank to the boat, and Dill runs toward his boat. In fact, Patrick created a game where he could spend time with his father. But as his stepfather's torture increased, the desire to kill him grew in Patrick's heart too. Patrick just wanted a sign that killing Frank was not wrong, so he let Dill think in the game, allowing Dill to follow his heart. Whatever decision he makes, Patrick will follow it too. This is why the game keeps reminding him that he just needs to catch the fish. But Dill's thinking began to change. Anyway, Dill reaches the boat, where Frank and Karen are already present. Dill takes Frank into the sea. Frank is already in bad shape, and Karen has kept him intoxicated. Just then, they realize that Samson is also on the boat, which could ruin their plan. But in the end, when Dill hands the rod to Frank, a shark pulls him into the sea, leading to his demise. In the real world, Patrick, Dill's son, actually kills his stepfather Frank. We understand that Dill's real battle ended with death. What happens in the game is just Patrick's imagination. After this murder, Patrick is placed in a mental hospital. In the game, we see Karen bidding farewell to Dill, but Dill has set a condition to adopt Patrick. Dill knows this is just a game. Then Karen, crying, says, "One day, you will definitely meet him." After that, Karen disappears, and Dill receives a call on his phone. On the other end is Patrick. Hearing his voice, Dill becomes emotional. Patrick says, "I've done something very wrong." Dill reassures him, "Whatever you did it for good." Patrick responds, "I will make some changes in the game so that I can meet you." Dill is very happy and says, "I will wait for you." After the call ends, Dill sees everything changing around him. In the next moment, we see Patrick in the game, running towards the boat to meet Dill. Seeing him, Dill is overjoyed, and they embrace each other. Even if it's in the game, Patrick is with his father, and this is where the film ends. In this story, the love between a father and son is depicted. A father's absence is felt more by those whose fathers have passed away. We hope you enjoyed our video and will join us for another story.